Two teams enter this game. One can only keep the tank alive. Who shall it be? In week 4 of the 2023 NFL season, the Denver Broncos went to Chicago to take on the Bears, and both teams were 0-3 entering this game, and oh my gosh. I really didn't want to have to separate this video, but I had to separate it from the recap video because it was just that bad. Chicago, man, you let up an early touchdown in the game to give the Broncos a 7-0 lead. Things were looking like they were going all Denver. Chicago couldn't get a single thing going at all in the first quarter and even into the second. But then finally things start clicking. The Bears start looking really good all of a sudden. And all of a sudden we're sitting there left thinking, are the Broncos this bad to be destroyed by the Miami Dolphins and then be destroyed by the Bears again? And the Chicago Bears kept the gas going. They at one point had a 28-7 lead. It was a huge game there. And just taking a look at the ESPN graph, it was all in favor of Denver early. Then it went hugely in favor of the Bears. And then Denver just crawling back at the end because Chicago just completely closed up shop at the very end. They played second quarter and part of the way into the third quarter, and then they shut down the whole organization. It was bad. It was bad. Just taking a look here at the stats, Denver managing to come back at the very end. But I really wouldn't take a deep dive into this because this is the sad state of Chicago at this point. Justin Fields, in this game, 28 for 35, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 interception the entire game. That is a stat line of a winning quarterback. But he still lost to Russell Wilson, who threw 21 for 28 for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. And really, I mean, just taking a look at the box score, it's not really a fault of anyone in particular. It's just the defense completely buckling. The Bears outplayed the Broncos completely. I mean, that's the sad state of the Chicago Bears here. The Bears are going to put up good numbers, but at the same time, it's awful. I mean, they're putting up good numbers against Denver, and they still lose because they're a cursed franchise at this point. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It has to, at this point, it has to be the coaching, because just looking at this stat line, the stat line is very good for Chicago. It looks like a winning team stat line. And yet, they had 171 rushing yards, 335 passing yards, and if we take a look at team stats in the game, the Bears had 471 total yards of offense, 160 yards more than the Denver Broncos, and they still lost. This is the sad state of the Chicago Bears, and I mean, it is just, you gotta burn the entire organization down if you want to fix it. I am sorry, Chicago fans. Like, everyone's laughing at you. You guys are just stuck in manic laughter, and I am just so sorry for your defeat, man. And just for the state of your organization, it is just embarrassing at this point. It is tough to be a Bears fan. And just taking a look at your schedule here, let's pull up the Bears schedule. The schedule doesn't look that much friendlier either. I mean, up next, you have the Commanders, who played really well against the Eagles. You have the Vikings, who can go off. The Raiders, maybe you win. The Chargers is a loss. The Saints, you probably fall to because the Saints offense is going to get going. Then you have a week, basically a bye week with the Panthers. And then you face the Lions, Vikings, Lions, Browns, Cardinals. So it is just a tough situation for the Bears right now. And it's tough to see a way out, but it is just bad. But Denver, you're not out of the woods either. You fell down by 21 points to Chicago. That shows how bad you are. You managed to pull it out at the end somehow by some magic, but I mean, it is absolutely atrocious for both of these teams. Neither of them have a really good outlook. And if we pull up the Broncos, let's pull up the Broncos schedule coming up here. You got, after this, the Jets with a remotivated Zach Wilson, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Bills. That is not a winning schedule upcoming. I mean, both of these teams are very well going to be fighting in a dogfight for the #1 overall pick with how bad they are.